I'm a mixed media artist, as she said. I love to work with UPO, watercolor. I will use everything and anything. I also work with oils and acrylics. But today I thought I would show you some things on UPO that I work on. These over here are all, this is a berry. This is watercolor on UPO. It's a poured painting, and I'll tell you what I do there. This too is watercolor, and I think it's acrylic on the back. They're two paintings on one. This is called Sovereign because it's regal. This is called Tatanka. This was supposed to be your demo for today, but I fell in love with it, so I finished it, and it isn't. I just came back from Wyoming, and if you later on when you have a chance, come up close and you can see the pink in his eye and the cataract, which many of us have experienced. This is Into the Deep. This is a poured UPO piece. And in it is a Caribbean reef octopus. You'll have to find him. And then this is manatee, which is traditional watercolor. So, UPO, I handed out some, you have little pieces to try, and if somebody doesn't have it, just pass it on. Try and tear it. See if you can tear it. You won't be able to. Try and wrinkle it, like fold it in half. You'll see it doesn't come out smooth afterwards. So the thing about UPO paper, it's a plastic paper, polypropylene. It will, if it gets wrinkled or marked, you can't get that wrinkle out, or if it gets a little something in it, marking it, you're not going to be able to get that out. So how you work with it is, if I'm going to transport this, I might put wax paper over it, and then I might roll it like this, put it in a blueprint tube, and do it that way, or just leave it flat like this. And I've got it pinned here. I'm going to show you how I do a couple ways I do UPO, and then I'm going to show you how you can edit UPO, which is a lot of fun. Are there any questions before I start? Okay, let's have some fun. There are tight painters, and there are loose painters. Who's a tight painter in here? Well, I've got it covered. I'm loose as a goose, and I will cover for you guys. And the one thing I am trying to figure out how to do is tight paint, which I can do, but it's not comfortable for me. Pores, UPO, I can do it with my eyes closed because I love it. A poured painting, if I'm going to pour a painting, and we're not going to do that today because you would literally be sitting here till the next 3 days watching it dry. I would take my sprayer, I would cover my paper, and then I would pour some usually liquid acrylic on it, some high flow electric acrylic, and then I would move it. I usually have this on a board, and I move it around, and then I let that layer dry. Come back later, I'll look at it. I might edit a little bit, or I'll add another layer. If you go to my website, you'll see, and my cards are up here, you can look at it later. Some of them will take 40, 60 hours because I'm doing layer upon layer upon layer. That's a pour, but we don't have time today to do that. So we are going to, I'm going to show you one of the ways. You can put down UPO on with this, any of these brushes. In fact, Jean Cormier turned me on to watercolor with this size brush and a full sheet of Arches paper and opera pink, and told me to go to town. And I never looked back. Barbara Simmons, a wonderful artist in Bradenton, Florida, turned me on to UPO, and I'm eternally grateful to her. Taylor Eichen, a former member of the Florida Watercolor Society, and always will be. She was known as the UPO Queen. Libet Jones, who's here, works on UPO. Marlene Woodson Howard, former state senator in the front row here. Marlene works on UPO. Joanne Pattison, a lot of people work on UPO. So enough talking, and let's get to business. I'm going to take my squirrel and take this let's do a beach. Let's do a beach. So see what I'm just doing here? I'm just going in here, a little color. Can everybody see this? Okay, this is, that's too much water. So what do I do? It's too much water. This is one thing with Yupo. This is a paper towel with patterns. You can't really see it, but you know what paper towels with patterns look like. This is auto part, but it's like Viva. So what I'm going to do is I can go like this with a roller, just very lightly, like a feather, and it's almost all gone, right? Or I can come over here and I can bring this over here like that, and I can let it dry. But look at this, it's pretty much all gone. So what that tells me that I need to have, I'm going to do more thick paint like this. Do thick paint like this. Yupo is a very forgiving surface when you paint on it. It's like painting on an Etch-a-Sketch. Is that what they used to call them, Etch-a-Sketches? Yes, that's what it's like painting on. So let's do a little bit of water. Use a little bit of this, darker blue. Add a little bit of cobalt here. What am I going to do? There we go. Okay. Do this. And all I'm doing is spreading this out. I don't think I did this. Boy, the person, Anne, when she comes after me, is going to have a little bit of a mess on the table. She'll love it. You tell her I left it just for her. Okay. Now, take this. You can use big sheets, little sheets, but what I want to try and do is get this a little bit. There we go. There we go. See how I'm just sort of laying it down and I'm getting this? So you have to feel, when I'm painting, most of my pores and my paintings are something that I feel. Sovereign, the sandhill crane over there, I was swimming in the pool one morning and I loved how the water, the light danced off the bottom of the pool. So I went back and I said, oh, I'm going to paint that. So I painted it, but it didn't come out the way I liked. So I let it sit there for a few years. And then I was doing my favorite, not tight painting of and for one of the competitions. And then I said, this is not working out. So then I remembered I had that background. So if you look at that background, I went back in and I put the sandhill crane on it. And it's just beautiful. It just like popped. I remember somebody saying they're hanging the show and they said, oh, I didn't know what to do with this big blob of blue till I'm up 20 feet and I came face to face with that sandhill crane. And that's the wonderful part about my paintings, your paintings, is have people look at it, have an interest in it, and have them go, wow, look at that. That's not a forest, it's a whale. It's not, whatever it is that you're working on. So all I'm doing here, again, is I'm just going back and forth, and this is going to dry because watercolor on Yupo will dry fairly quickly if you don't use a lot of water. All right, since I'm doing a little bit of a beach thing here, let's get some beach in here. Let's use a different brush. Let's move that brush here. Please, I'll be right here. Isn't it nice to have everybody back together at the convention? I'm just so happy. It's lovely. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to put a little bit of sand in here, and I want it to mix with the upper part, and I want to leave it just loose. So I want to have some of the blue come in, and I can even bring some of the blue down here, put it in there. Okay. There we go. I haven't done a lot, but made a few strokes, right? I'm just going to go back in. make some marks in the sand. Can everybody see that? Okay, is that better? Yeah, I'm just lifting that up there. And then I want to make some more blues. So I want some clouds in here. There's not many clouds, so I'm going to make some clouds up here in the sky if I can. Make the whole thing more there. Right along. Ooh. Now, it's all using your brush all different ways and angles and whatnot. So this right here, I would put layers and layers and layers. That is one way of using Yupo. Can everybody see that okay? Okay. So you can roll it with the roller. If you use too much water on it, then you're going to have to let it sit and dry out. That's one way. And I'm going to show you something else, which is fun. If you take, who here works with acrylic? Anybody work with acrylic? Ooh, okay, great. This is, I've already done this. This is acrylic underneath, and I've just taken different colors and I paint them different patterns, just any way that I wanted, all different colors. And then I let it dry. On top of it, I take out of the tube watercolor. This I think is indigo or Antwerp blue, might be a combination. Watch what happens when I'm gonna, you see, do we have let's do a little ballerina or something. This is still on Yupo. Yes, I'm going to show you everything today. I'm going to do on Yupo. You can try this on watercolor paper, but it's not going to be the same because it's going to dry off and it just won't be the same. So this is on that I put down first. You'll see all different colors. And the paints I use are all top quality. My brushes are Escoda, Princeton brushes, Lowell Cornell. Use all. If you're going to paint, and if you want to sell your work, you want to use top-notch material. Paints, Holbein, Daniel Smith, is it Schmick? I can't even pronounce it. Valor Rowney. All of those Mission paints, that Michael Harding, all terrific paints. Because the last thing that you want to do is sell a painting and have it fade. And somebody's paid anywhere from $25 to thousands of dollars. These paintings here, the large ones, Sovereign, sold, the original sold for $5,000. The Tatanka will probably go for, the original will probably go for about $3,000. So they're all, if you can do G-clays, and it gives people an opportunity to do, it's expensive, but it gives you an opportunity to do things. Okay, back to painting. So all I've done is put down acrylic paint, and I have dried it. Now what you can do then is take a piece of tracing paper, which I'm not going to do today. I'm going to look for my pencil. Let's do a little, just a little ballerina so you can see. So I would paint on here, just an outline of whatever I want to do. It's better this way. So I'll give her, let's just do a little ballerina this way, okay? She's going to have her like this, up like this, and she's going to have her arm out like that, and have her arm out like that, and she's going to have her legs out like this. Well, she's got an awful fat leg, and she's going to have her leg out like that. Okay, but we can play with it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is blotting, so I'm going to take a brush that's damp, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to blot it up. And this is going to be, I don't know what colors I have where. Hold on. This is after it's dry, yes. So your acrylic is already put down. This has been dried for a while. Another tip that I will tell you with UPO is if you have UPO like I have here and I've got the watercolor on it, put a piece of wax paper on it. Don't put plastic on it because you have a plastic paper, you put paint on it and you put plastic on top of it, it's going to stick and come right off. So you want to protect it, so you put a light thing of wax paper and just either use these little pins to hold it down, or just lay it flat. I have a lot of these boards. I'm going to get this all wet here. See what we have for colors under here because I really don't know what colors we have under here. I'm just going to go in here. I know I don't. There's pink in there someplace. I know because I put it in there. See all the paint that's coming up here? Because if you want, I'm going to use the acrylic as a backdrop. You know what a giraffe looks like? And the giraffe has all those lines. So if you were just to do the lines around it, like let's say this is a giraffe's head, we'll make this into a giraffe's head. So I'm going to give them the little ears that giraffes have, and they have these little nubs right here. And they have this long neck that comes down like this, right? So if that, I can do it like that, or I can just do the line area. So I can just do the outline of like a circle. I need a stiffer brush here. Hang on. Let's get a better brush. I can just do, let's say I'm doing that see where I'm getting? See that round circle? So let's say this was a giraffe, and I'm doing the giraffe. This is going to come up. Nope, I'm just putting watercolor on. So you can put any color watercolor that you want on it. You can have if it were a giraffe, I'd probably want to have a brown gold, and then you'd have mixed colors underneath to do that. So there's all sorts of things that you can do here. So you can either roll it out like I did there, what you've seen here. I don't want to do that. See, like I've done here, my little beach thing, and this is a very simplified. But all I did was with the roller, I kept rolling it. This, I'm just blotting up. Hold on, because we don't need to sit there and watch me blotting. This is all UPO. Let me put this down so you can see it here. Take that, thank you. And just put that on over there. Here's fine. You can take that away too. I don't need that anymore. What's my time? Okay. That's okay. Can I get some clean water here, please? Oops. Okay. Yeah. Did I have acrylic under which painting? No, this, remember when I told you I roll? Oh, yeah. So if you look at this part of the painting here, it's all rolled. Are you seeing him the same way I'm seeing him? So you're seeing him upright, he's not upside down. Okay, good. Thank you. Because what we're going to do with him is, I did this for somebody that was looking for an octopus. I love this part, the down below. But my octopus, although he's playful and fun, he's not completed. He's not the way I wanted him. I was trying to do a Caribbean octopus, which has 8 arms, and they have this big round head, this is correct. But their arms aren't, their tentacles, their arms are not out like that. They have almost like a parachute that goes over, but they can make it really skinny like these. So what I thought I would do is show you, this is how you can undo something. I want to make him, change him up. So what do? I'm going to put wider arms on him. I'm going to bring him together. So look at my octopus. He lost his arm. No. So see. This is all watercolor paint on this. I'm not using acrylic. If I were using acrylic, which I could, then I can't lift it back up. But in this case, I wanted this entire painting is Yupo with watercolor. I did this part on it, with the paper towel, and I did layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. I just kept going over, letting it dry. It needed to be darker, so I put some more paint, straight paint from the tube, spread it out with the roller, then took the paper towel, and see how I got this nice effect of sort of the water effect for the background. And then I positive painted my octopus, but I kept doing the roller on it. But again, he didn't come out the way that he should. So we're going to fix him, hopefully. And you'll see, I want to make his arms much wider. So we get down here. We're going to cut right down here. What's my time, please? That's fine. That's perfect. Okay. It's Yupo is just, we're going to make this arm's okay, but I think I want to make him. I want to make them wider here. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Yes. No. He was positive painted on there, but as I did, see how his face is a little bit marred up? So I would put a little bit, and you'll watch me, I'll do it also standing up, sitting down or standing up here. I'm going to make his tentacles or his arms wider, which I think will be more pleasing to how he is. Yupo is like a skating rink. That's the best way to describe it. People go, oh, I don't like, you just have to, it's like any paper, you have to learn to work with. So while I have that right there, so that's going to be wide, he's going to be wide, so he's got to come around here and be wider, right? What else do I have to be? He's okay, that arm's okay, but we really need to come in here. But since we're right here, I think we should add a little fish, don't you? So let's add a little fish right there. Look at this. Hold on. There's my little fish. Somebody tell me somebody give me their name. What's your name? The gentleman in the second row there that just scratched his head. What's your name? This is Lenny. Lenny, what color would you like to be? Orange. Orange, you're going to be orange. Let's get you orange. The other thing that I would recommend is don't paint in white and something nice, especially if you're Wendall, because my husband looks at me and said, what are you doing? Okay, let's do both of this. Let's get a little bit orange, Lenny. Here we go. This is all finished. Do you do something to protect it? Excellent question. The question was, when I'm all finished, what do I do to protect it? You can spray them. Typically, I don't spray them, and thank you actually for bringing that up. I will spray them sometimes, but I'm afraid we can try it on this. I don't know. Let's see what happens. This is a fine mister, so your spray of your paint is going to be in between a fine mist and something else. So let's see. It's not good. Doesn't want to work. Let's try. Little is better sometimes. Okay, little guy. Okay, so I'm spraying that on there. Let's see if it does anything. So that would be like, that was just water. So let's just see if I touch that, it's going to come right off. So if I just leave it, it's fine. The other thing is, what was I going to say about Yupo? Yupo, I told you, sometimes will stick, to something, another surface. So when I frame these, I get double mats. If I don't double mat it, then it's going to touch the surface and it's going to be glue. And then Lenny will come off. Lenny, we can't have you going anywhere. I seal sometimes, but typically no. Many people do though. When I like a painting, when it's finished, I don't want to play with it and have something touch it. So right now this looks okay. It's not doing anything. So you're safe, but I would use a matte gloss. I wouldn't use a really glossy gloss on it. Biscuits. Here we go, Lenny. We're going to make you orange. Here we go. So we've added a little fish. Thank you for swimming with us, Lenny. Okay. Now we want to get his, my little octopus, which I haven't named. Give me another name, somebody. Throw out a name. Robert, okay. So is Robert a he now or a she? Okay, then Robert's going to be my little octopus here. And we're going to just brighten Robert up. Okay. So I want to add some color in here. So I'm just going to go in here. See how I'm just positive painting? That's all I'm doing. I'm positive painting like that all the way down. And a reef, what I'm doing is I said earlier, specifically a Caribbean reef octopus. They would their head would be like this. And if you ever watch them, they've got, it looks like a parachute comes over a rock, and any of the things it wants to eat, it can pull up that way. But if it's moving across, it's going to look like this because it's going to stick its arm out and pull itself along. So it's a little bit odd shape to paint, and they change colors, but they are typically a beautiful, beautiful turquoise, which I had originally. Robert is a turquoise, but he didn't look well. So, okay, so we did this. I'm going to take a little bit of this. Where's my roller? Oh, roller. I'll use this roller. I don't know where. And I'm just going to go very lightly, not very lightly. And what you're going to get, you see how it's texturing? And then I can go back in. This is much better. See how he's texturing back there? And then I can go back in and fix his arm a little bit more there. It can be the same. Well, I know, for instance, Marlene, put your hand up in the air. Marlene uses her watercolor paper, her paints like almost a very thick oil sometimes. And I tend to do that too. You want to be very light and thick at the same time. Staining colors, remember, don't touch your hands. Things. So see how he's looking better already, because he's just making more sense there. Now I'd want to define his eyes more, and I'd also want to work on a little bit of, bring some of this orange over, a little bit of Lenny into the orange. So Lenny and Robert are pals. They hang around in the ocean and they swim around there. Okay. So now I'm going to just take this and I'm just going to blot. And so sometimes you just have to go over and over and over till you get the look that you want. Tatanka, the buffalo, which means buffalo in Native American, by the way, that's his name. That Yupo paint. You asked about thick paint. Don't see it yet. Oh, you will here. Oh, you can't see it. Thank you for telling me that. Okay, it's safe to do it down here. Look at that. See what I'm doing? That's thick. But let's say I want them lighter. Let's bring in a little bit of a, this is all. See how I'm doing just a lighter one? So that's another method. Can you see what I've done there? All I've done is bounce back and forth. And then if I want to make a shape out of it, I think, oh, I don't like that. I want to straighten them out. I just wipe my brush so it's just damp. And look what I've done. See? That's thin. So you use both a thin and a thick to the paint. Depends on what you're painting, what you want to get. And what I do also is I will take my paints and my painting and I'll put it in a room, look at it, I'll bring it back and I'll play with it and say, no, I like it. It needs more texture. If you get up close to the buffalo, you'll see his eye. He's got a little bit of pink in the eye. And as I said, that sort of white cataract look in his eye. That just holds it all together. And I had to go back in and do that because I thought, no, something's missing. He looked like a regular old buffalo. Okay. Now, what do we have here? This is fun. People that know me that paint, I tend to look at something and I'll see something and I'll go, oh, it's like, that looks like such and such. No, it's going to get better than that, I think. Okay, we could do that, but let's try. Let's try. It's time? Thank you. Okay. While I do this head, I have, does anybody have a couple of things? A couple of things to tell you. These G clays are all made by Miguel Figueres. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Let's do a crab. Let's make a little blue crab. Where can we put the little crab? We'll put the little crab right down here. And we're going to go up like this with these little things. We're going to go up here with these little things. Gee, what should we call this crab? Any ideas for a name? A great name. Okay, here's our little crab that we put in. Okay. Yep, this is watercolor on top of Yupo, and I put, if you see when I just painted Ron in there. Oh, I can't take it. I've got to take this off. And what I have done is I've now gone down to the white. Remember I did the white of the surface here? Yeah. Same thing. It's I've just painted. This is already dry. Why is he all blue now? Okay. So what I've shown you is this. I've shown you several things. We've taken a piece of that out. We've widened his arm. If I keep putting layers on, then it's going to all flow in together. I added a crab. Actually, that's Ron. I add Lenny over here. And Robert. There's a guy thing going on here. They're fishing. Yeah, exactly. So with the crab, I would add more color to him, let that dry, add a little bit more color, a little bit more positive color. If it's too wet, then what will happen is you're going to let the paint off. So when you dab something, when you go in, like I wanted to give some texture to it, so I dabbed it very lightly, as if you took a little feather and just touched your palm of your hand, just lightly, just brushed it. And so you really have to, with Yupo, just light, hard, whatever you want. We talked about this painting here could be an octopus. I was thinking more of, hold on, you've got something going on here. So, we've got about 20 minutes. Oh, perfect. All right. So, I've got, what am I doing here, guys? What is it looking like anything yet? If it's looking like I'm trying to put a head on there. Well, it could be. See, now you guys are seeing things. That's a good thing. Now we're going to do like I'm trying to do a little figure if I can. We could do a lionfish, actually, be good. So none of us know what we're doing here, right? So what we're going to do is we go like this and watch this. Ready? Etch-a-Sketch, Yupo, isn't it great? Now, sometimes it will leave a little bit of a stain, sometimes not. If I kept going over that with clean water, it would be fine.
You really wouldn't be able to remove it at all.
Oh, yes, let's use, let's go use some indigo. I love indigo, is one of my favorite colors, which is over here, okay? Let's see what happens with indigo. There's some indigo, right? Now, this is watercolor. Now let's just take it out, okay? Of course, it's going to prove me wrong because you asked, but that's okay. The biggest takeaway I wanted to tell you about Yupo is that you can play with it. You can just have fun with it and do all these great things. Pattern, you can't see this up close. It's a pattern paper towel. Stay away from those when you're using to block, because otherwise that pattern is going to stay on your painting and then it looks too yeah, it doesn't look natural. Okay, there's your, see, it's still there a little bit, but you can't see a lot of it, right?
So you're using water and not alcohol, right?
Right, correct. Some people, alcohol, that's a good, I'm glad you brought that up. Alcohol, a lot of people will take alcohol and 91%, 90% or 91% alcohol. There's 70% and there's 90%, and they'll clean this off. Yupo, if you have fingerprints, they're going to stay on there. So I don't, because I cover every surface and I'm pouring and doing all sorts of things, I rarely have to clean it off. But I'm very careful when I touch it. Once I'm there, I'll touch it on the edges or wear gloves to touch it. But alcohol, you can use alcohol, you can spray alcohol, and you'll get this great effect. It's like when you sprinkle salt on watercolor paper. There's nothing that can hurt this paper except unless you wrinkle it and unless you don't like it and you cover everything over, and then it will have hurt feelings, but that's about it. So let's
use alcohol to get rid of fingerprint marks.
Yes, you can use alcohol to get rid of the fingerprint marks. Yes.
Yupo was originally used for portrait paper. It was designed as portrait. Oh, this one did use.
Yeah. So it's been around for ages, and as I said, Barbara Simmons and Bradenton turned me on to it, and just the things that you can do with this are just incredible. Use bubble wrap. You like, if you are an abstract artist or you want to add something, do a fish, press that in, take a little piece and just press it in, and guess what? You're going to have another fish. Do we have any other guys in the room? Lenny, guess what? Lenny left. Okay. Okay. So, okay, good. So what I'm going to do here, see this, this is still wet here. I don't want to mark it up, so I'm going to go over on this side here. And see how I've added this fish up here? We want them swimming inwards, because when you do your compositions, you want things to come here or bring the view around your painting. If I had the fish going out that way, bye. So bring them into your painting. Okay, so we have a fish right here. I'm going to take a little piece of Yupo, I mean not Yupo, bubble wrap, yes. And I'm going to put it right on there. Hold on. Well, if I let him dry a little bit more, he's going to come out. Let's try it. Let me try it this way. Hold on. No, he's not doing it. So what I would do, that's where I would use more thick paint. See, now he's got a nice that color. Let's try something else with him. Let's do a little bit of turquoise with him. See how he looks. And we're going to go in a few minutes. I want to tell you a couple things while he dries. And then I'll go in with this. I don't want his, I don't want him all, I want his little face there. And then we'll put bubbles on the back of him. So see what I just did? You can come up and take a closer look later on. And what I'll do is when he dries in a few minutes, I'll just put the bubble on it and just press straight down. When you press straight down, if you want to make an imprint, put it down, lift it up. but don't push it down and then change your mind and go like this. Push it down, lift it up, because that will give you a cleaner look. I could have done that and still might with all of these little tentacles or the little suction cups on my, on Ron here. But what I'm going to do is positive painted all of them. But this painting doesn't work for me. This bottom is nice. The octopus is cute, but it doesn't come together. So it's a work in progress. So that was the way it was a good demo. Tatanka over there was a great demo, but I kept going and I didn't stop. So sorry about that. But at least you get to see the finished product. So what I want to tell you, a couple of things, and I'll summarize things, is Miguel with Artfinity in Sarasota. His cards are here, and I'll also put some outside. He has a sale on G Clays. So it's you bring 2 artworks to photograph, and you save 50% on the second one to photograph. And then order 2 G Clay prints of the same image, and you save 50% the second one, and that goes till October 31st. So it's a great idea if you want G Clays of your work, or just what I do is I have pictures taken of my work by him because they're professional, and I can enter shows that way. He has them online all the time. He'll give me a thumb drive so I can use them for cards, whatever I want. That's one plug. The other thing is his last, and I'll give you, they have all sorts of cards here. It's Artfinity. Artfinity, and it's www.artfinity.com. I have no connections except think of him as a friend, and he's taken care of my work for 20 years now, so he's terrific. But please mention, because he has supported us with free G Clays in the past here at the Florida Watercolor and other places. And he's done all sorts of stuff. So support all of our sponsors. A G Clay, good question. A G Clay, Giclee. G Clay? Yeah, CLEE. And it's got the little thing on it. It's a archival print. So which means that if this right here can go for 200 years, it's not going to fade or do anything like that. It's on archival paper, archival inks. I know that if I sell that for whatever, I've lowered the price here for today, but if I were to sell that at the gallery and somebody takes it home, it's not going to fade or print. I can give it to grandchildren, whoever I want to give it to, which is great. So I also have cards for sale. They're $5 each. And what I didn't bring, make sure to grab one of my business cards, because this is, when you just have everything all ready to go and you get there and you say, I forgot it. Pink Soiree is one of my favorite paintings. It's flamingos. It was a pour. It's gorgeous. It was sold over in East Florida, in Boynton Beach, hanging, but it shows you up close, and you can please take a card. So to summarize, Yupo, plastic paper. When you use it, have fun with it. If you're going to put water on the surface, it's going to roll around. So I would recommend that you just do some positive painting on it. And you can paint just regular positive paint, which is sort of hard because then, see what it does? Oops, you can't see, you can see like this. See, I'm just doing positive stuff like that. Then it dries a certain way and it looks contrived. I will do that, but I'm more of to play with it more. I like to be a little bit more creative, but it's awful pretty. And see, now if I want to take if this were a pour and I had, watch this. Just think for the whole hour, you could have sat and watched me do this. This is what I do when I pour my acrylics and my watercolors on paper. The berry, which is the prose, it has a berry in its mouth. And the question is, here, honey, I brought a berry back for you. Or is it, this is my berry and you're not getting it? But the berry was a pour. So I waited. I wanted to have that flow of paint that went down. I wanted to have it look different layers, but I still wanted it to speak to the viewer. So the birds are talking to one another. The berry is the centerpiece of it that brings it together, but it's got all those layers on it, just like I did here. See, but what I'll do is when I pour it like this, go away, I come back and I'll look at it and I'll turn it in different places. On my website, which is on my card, there's something called Cetacea. And if I said to you, if I had it here, it's about this big. I said, what do you see? And you say, oh, I see a forest. Oh, I see maybe a turtle. Well, it's a whale and it takes up the whole thing. So it's like, oh, wow. So that's what I like to do with my paintings. And that was on UPO. So look at my paintings on my website. Look at the different layers that I've done, and you'll see some of what I'm talking about. And you'll figure out some that look flat like this where I rolled it out and others that I poured. Yes, question.
Yeah, how long does it take when you do all that to dry?
Okay, good question. How long does it take for it dry? My studio that I work with the pours, I have a dehumidifier in there. It could take hours for it. This won't take long. What I showed you, that won't take long. But this, what I just did here, if I were pouring my acrylic and spraying it, there's pools of water. So it's all layering and going together. That will take hours. It dries and you come back. You make sure it is on a flat surface. If I sit in a chair on my lanai, I go like this. So it looks fine. I don't see anything rolling. I go out and I come back and I've got this turquoise and orange all over there. When I spray, sometimes I have to be careful it's not near something. So I've got it set up pretty well now so it doesn't do that. So to answer your question, hours on a lot of wet paint. There's a question back there. Okay. What a good question. What acrylic paints do I use? Createx is a good paint. FW, I use a lot of. That's the little ones that has a little dropper in it. You can take watercolor paint, you know, the ends of the tubes, and Ann will share this with you, Ann Avgot. She takes her in your empty tubes and she cuts them up and puts them in a little jar and let them sit and all the paint comes out. If you don't put a lot of water in there, you're going to have a thicker paint. Guess what you can use it for? UPO, or your watercolor too, because you can pour on watercolor paper. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, did you say, Robert? Or is it regular acrylic that you just from the bottle?
FW is in a bottle. It's in a bottle. It's smaller, about $5, $6, $7 a piece, and shake them up good. And I drop it on, and sometimes I'll drop and then I'll spray, and it depends on what I'm looking for. Sometimes I don't know what I want to do, so I'll just put layers of paint on it, let it settle in, come back and look again, and say, okay, I want to put more color here, or I want to add this. There was one I did was all green. It's on my website too. It's called Lorky. Think of this. You're in the marshland of Florida and you're hiding from Ron. So you're down like this, and suddenly you hear this little rustle and you look like this. And here's a huge shoulder and this long snout of this alligator. So it's called Lorky. And you will see some of what I showed you today in that painting. If you look at the right side lower, you'll see just part of his shoulder, and that's where you've seen me press things on it. You'll see the different layers of paint. Up at the top, you'll see this big green ball. That's his eyeball. And he was a real alligator. He looked so prehistoric from Circle B Preserve. He was massive. But I wanted to paint him, and he came out terrific. He's won a couple of awards, but he's just this cool picture. So you'll see some of those. A couple more questions and I'll just summarize here.
I see you're using masking tape here now. Are you using masking tape across the board on all your pieces? And if so, does it leave a residue on your uniform?
The masking tape is just to I don't know what that was for. So there's no masking tape on here. Sometimes I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I will put masking tape on the edges, but my edges I'm going to mat. So these
those have a mat on?
No, they don't have a mat on them.
Okay, so how did you get that matte look?
Miguel. Miguel, I've had him do that. I have in my cards, when I have my cards made, like I'll have them do a mat around it because it just gives a little look of it. My cards, by the way, today are 5 a piece or 2 for 9, I think. They have an envelope in there and a sleeve. But these are all, this didn't need a mat because it's large enough. It will be because it's a G clay, it doesn't need to be double matted. They can just put it in a frame or they can put a mat around it and just put it on the wall. It looks great. But with Yupo, if it's Yupo, it's not a print, make sure that you mat it. Make sure that it does not touch when I transport it. I transported it like this. Can you see these nails right here? Okay. These little things. And what I do my pores on, you can get either this size or smaller, but because it's got to be double matted, it's going to be more expensive. And then when you frame it, it's going to be expensive there. So you have to work small. And they should have some nice pads in there. I asked them to stock up on Yupo pads. They're small. And just grab them and play with them. Because you can use them over and over and over. And it's a blast. Question?
On your soiree, was that on?
That was on Yupo.
That was on.
That was on Yupo. Yep. On my website, you'll see it will say, it will tell you if it's on Yupo or if it's on canvas, it's on watercolor paper. I like to paint on everything. I like to use what's around me. I did this lovely little watercolor of a peahen. Peahen is a female peacock, and they're lighter color. And I found this little tiny piece of wood, and it was her wing. And I put it in the painting, but if you didn't know, you wouldn't see it. But when you look and you go, oh my goodness, that wood is her wing. So play with your paints, have fun, be loose as a goose. 5 minutes, okay. Summarize. You can use this sprayer. Which of these do I want to use? Blue, yes, or Viva, just plain Viva. If you want patterns, you can get patterns, but people will say, oh, that she used a paper towel with this print on it. So it's not too original there. When I'm want to put something on it, when I want to blot something, what do? Down and right back up. So let me see if this might have dried already, but let's see if this will work. My little fish here. Come on, fishy, work for me, or make me look fishy. Well, it didn't do it. It sort of did it. Yeah, there we go. I'm doing one, but it gave it some nice texture. So if I did some more, I could do them purple and whatnot. Okay, if I'm going to transport it, how am I going to transport my Yupo? Wax paper, put it over, or just leave it out. Yupo with paint on it attracts dust. So if you're going to store it underneath something, put some pins, like some, the push pins. Just put those on it and then stick it in a bag, and just put it under your bed or in your closet or something like that. I have a lot of these around. I'll tell you, see Into the Deep, which is the last one on the right with the Caribbean octopus. Well, I did it on this board. I brought it to the framer. Miguel was going to photograph it, and then I brought it to the framer. And the framer called me and said, we have a problem, Houston. I said, what's that? It couldn't come off because the paint had leaked underneath here and stuck the paper to the surface. So I brought it home, didn't want to deal with it. And then finally, what do we have in our kitchen that we use to flip things with? Spatula. So I got a plastic spatula, which was soft. And I just gently went like that and it lifted it fine. I had to be careful because if I hit it the wrong direction, it would crease the paper. So you just want to be careful there. You can use thick watercolor. You can use thin watercolor. You can use, if you're going to do a pour and you want to do acrylic, that's fine, but let it dry. Where's my, this blue thing? Right here, you can see, this is the correct way. If there's more under here, I didn't get it completely up, but there's all pinks and oranges under there. And you can just put, if you're going to do your giraffe, do it like a rust color, and then take a white paper, a watercolor pencil to do your lines on it. Or take a bleed proof bleed proof, have it here someplace, tracing paper, and trace what you want and put that on it and just blot it out. So wet it, blot down. You don't wipe when you blot, you just press down and pick it up, and you go through a lot of tissues. So that's that. Any other questions? Thank you for coming, everybody. Appreciate it. And go out and be loose.
Yeah. Thank you.